Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. Now in this project we're only going to use two items, and the two items that we're going to use are the Griffin acetate cards for all occasions and the vintage garden die cuts. These are the two items that go together and they match and coordinate together. In the die cuts you get 300 die cuts of various different things. Different flowers, different leaves, different birds, etc. And then in the acetate cards, you get 36 7x5 acetate cards. I'm not going to go through the products because it's not a product preview or anything, but I just wanted to show you the two products that we're going to use. Now, the actual acetate card that we're going to use is this one. And I'm going to show you it in its entirety because we're not going to use it as it is, basically. We're going to do something a bit different with it. So this is the acetate card, and what you can do is use them as an acetate wrap around a card, like so, or you could use them as they are and add an inner section and just add a ribbon. So we're going to take it to the next step. Somebody recently gave me a compliment and they said that I was the Tim Holtz of Anna Griffin, and I think this project might just show that maybe I am. What a compliment that was. So I'd like to say thank you very much to that person that said that, because that made my day. And I just like to show you that, you know, you can do different things with your products. You don't have to always stay traditional. You can just sort of spread your wings a little bit and dip your toe into doing alternate things. So the first thing we're going to need is our base card. This really is the only extra item that we're using. A piece of extra ivory card, the base card and some ribbon. Everything else is from the vintage garden die cuts and the acetate sheets. So it's kind of like you don't need a whole batch of things, because I know when I do projects and I say, oh, we've used this and we've used that and the other, and I have a great long list of dies and embossing folders and everything. Well, this is just two items. So I'm taking my bone folder and I'm making sure that I've got a nice sharp crease along the edge of our card. This basically means that it will stand up nicely and it looks more professional. And as always, we're going to do the inside first. Now, the first thing I've done is where we had our acetate card, I cut it in half. And the outside section of the card I've trimmed to fit the inside of our card, if that makes sense. So this was the outside of the acetate card, and what I've done is I've simply added tape at the back of it in various sections. And you're going to say to me, but Anne-Marie, I can see the tape. You're going to peel the back of the tape away and I'm going to see it. Well, you are just for the time being, but we're going to cover it over, and don't panic, we won't see it. So I'm going to insert the acetate to the centre. And now you're thinking, well, how am I going to write on that? That looks a mess. You can see the tape, I can't write my name. How am I going to send it to my friend or my mum, etc.? Well, this is where the extra sheet, the extra section of ivory card comes in. So what I've done is I've just cut a section in a rectangle. I've taken it through my Xyron machine and I'm going to add it through the centre of the acetate in the centre of the card, like so. And then from the vintage die cuts, the vintage garden die cuts, I've simply taken 3 flowers I've taken them through my Xyron machine and I'm going to add them to the edge of our ivory section, like so, and that covers the tape up that was underneath, that enables us to actually attach the acetate. And then I've got the sentiment from the Vintage Garden die cuts. I've trimmed it down slightly because I was going to add it through the centre of our card, but I'm thinking I might add it roughly about there. Or shall we stick to the centre? I think we'll stick to the centre, because that kind of separates our card, doesn't it, for our messages to and from, etc. So that's the inside of our card finished. We've got the acetate as a background. It's stuck down because it's stuck underneath our card section, and the card section will enable you to be able to write your message to and from. We've got the little bit of added tape on the edges, but we've covered that over with the flowers. It doesn't give any extra height to the card, and it will still fold up. So now I'm just going to use my bone folder again to make sure we've got a good sharp crease along that edge. And then we can decorate the front of the card. Now the base of the front of the card is the base front of the acetate card. Now again, I've got tape on the back, and you can see the tape is underneath the flowers apart from this section here. But if you keep the tape underneath the flowers and use a good strong tape, that will enable you to be able to stick the acetate down. This section here, where you can see this tape, don't worry about that, we're going to cover that over. So now I can add the acetate to the front of my card, like so, and press it down. And that's firmly stuck, it's not going anywhere, even with that small amount of tape. So you can't see the tape under the flowers and under the coloured section, you can only see this bit here. So next, I've taken 2 of the gold flourishes from the die cut collection, from the Vintage Garden die cut collection, sorry, and I've run these through my Xyron machine, and I'm just adding them to the front of the card, like so, just on top of the acetate, over the top of the design. And then taken from the Vintage Garden die cut, I've taken the same design as we have on the acetate card and on the acetate that we're using, and I've added 3D foam on the back of it, and I'm going to position it over the top of the actual die cut that's on the card front, like so. There we go. Then I've taken 2 of the decoupage pieces that work with the flowers to build the design up. I've added 3D foam on the back of them, and you get 3D foam in the actual kit anyway, and I've just added those to give it a little bit of extra height. And then I've taken one of the sentiments from the actual Vintage Garden die cuts. I've got 3D foam on the back, and I'm going to add this over this circle, like so. There we go. And then we can still see this ugly piece of tape here that's holding the acetate on. Well, that's for my bow that I'm just going to add across the top of the design, like that. And that finishes our card perfectly. So it's a little bit different. It's not using a great amount of items. It's using two different kits. And it's just such a pretty card. Really different. And incorporating the acetate at the back with gorgeous designs and the flourishes, and then the girl flourishes that we had. And then the decoupage over the top, adding a bow and a sentiment. And then the inside matches perfectly with the acetate and the same flowers. Stands up nicely. It's not going to need any extra packing. And it uses your acetate just in a different way. And I think that is just such a pretty card. And I know I say that about all of them, but it is a pretty card. It's very easy and it's very different. It looks more complicated than it is. So I hope you like this one. For all you fans of the acetate and the die cuts, put them together and use them, because we all get all these products and we sit looking at them, stroking them, and we never want to use them. So this is just one to try with one of the products, the acetate, that I think you might have just been sat looking at and not using. So give it a go and let me know what you think. I do appreciate your messages. Please keep them coming because I love reading them. I love hearing from you. I can't reply on YouTube. I think I have said that before, previously maybe. But I can reply to you on my blog and on Facebook. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.